The doors to the Viridian Tea House are open once more. Hello everyone, I've got some really cool books to talk about, one of my tea blends to talk about, and some upcoming events that I'm really excited about. So if you're ready, let's do this. So Memorial Day is coming up, and I know a lot of people are out and about the weekend before to enjoy that 3-day weekend. So I've got some mentions about what's going on this weekend if you happen to be in Colorado. So first, there's the Denver Arts Festival. It is one of the coolest art festivals ever. It is the 25th and the 26th, and the address is 8304 East 49th Place. This will be my second year volunteering at the Arts Festival, and let me tell you, there's a ton of art at this festival. Everybody's really cool, laid back. You just go there. You go for the art, but you stay for the conversations, for the interactions. You never know what you're going to find. You never know what you're going to see. But yes, I will be actually doing check-in of the artists. So I'm looking forward to doing that. But yes, the Denver Arts Festival is the 25th and 26th, this coming Saturday and Sunday. And the address is 8304 East 49th Place. So, and then also this coming Saturday is the Wheat Ridge Farmers Market, like I've talked about before. It is this Saturday. It's from 1:30 to 4:30, and it's at the Wheat Ridge Coop. And apparently they're going to have sandwiches there and green chili and all sorts of stuff. And I will be there with my tea, my books, artwork, and photography. So if you're in Wheat Ridge, come on by and say hello. And then on Sunday, the 26th, is the Outpost Farmers Marketplace in Golden. The hours are 9 to 2. And the first time I did it, it hailed on us several times and it rained on us several times, but still had an incredible farmers market experience. So that is this Sunday from 9 to 2. I will, of course, be there as a vendor, and just looking forward to it. So hopefully there's not going to be any rain this weekend. I think the forecast said it's going to be sunny and 70, so perfect farmers market, art festival weather. All right, so let's get to the books. The first one, I do have to say, I have read a couple of this author's works. I hold him in high regard, and he actually wrote the introduction to an anthology that I was a part of through my publisher. If you are familiar with my publisher, it's Pro Se Productions in Arkansas, and they did two anthologies about Black pulp, where of course it had to be a pulpy noir detective kind of story, but the main character had to be African American or African descent. And this author, Walter Mosley, wrote the introduction, and I felt so honored and so proud that his words were a part of this book. And you can find Black Pulp through Amazon. So, or you can go to the publisher's website, and I will add it to the video, and you can just search to your heart's content. But I was really happy to be a part of those two anthologies. But this book, Touched, this was quite surprising. I read the inside dust jacket, which I'll read to you in a minute, like I always do. And it just kind of threw me, because I'm so used to his noir detective stories, but he's written such a plethora of stories. I just have nothing but mad respect for Walter Mosley. So let me read the dust jacket for you. Intergalactic visions, deadly threats, and explosive standoffs between mostly good and completely evil converge in a dystopian fantasy that could only be conceived by Walter Mosley, one of the country's most beloved and acclaimed writers. Martin just wakes up one morning after what feels like and might actually be a centuries-long sleep with two innate pieces of knowledge. Humanity is a virus destined to destroy all existence, and he is the cure. Martin begins slipping into an alternate consciousness with new physical strengths to violently defend his family, the only Black family in their neighborhood in the Hollywood Hills of Los Angeles, against pure evil. think Octavia Butler meets Jeff Vandermeer meets Jordan Peele. I adore Jordan Peele. Awesome director. Expansive and innovative, sexy and satirical, Touched brilliantly imagines the ways in which human life and technological innovation threaten existence itself. And for those of you who are not familiar with Walter Mosley, he's the author of 60. Wow. Okay, wow. I love you, Mr. Mosley. Wow. 60 critically acclaimed books of fiction, nonfiction, memoir, and plays. His work has been translated into 25 languages. He is the winner of numerous awards, including an O. Henry Award, the Mystery Writers of America's Grand Master Award, a Grammy, several NAACP Image Awards, and PEN America's Lifetime Achievement Award. In 2020, he was named the recipient of the Robert Kirsch Award for Lifetime Achievement from the Los Angeles Times Festival of Books and was awarded the Distinguished Contribution to American Letters Award from the National Book Foundation. Born and raised in Los Angeles, Mosley now lives in Brooklyn and Los Angeles. Wow. You were always one of my inspirations. If you're watching this, Mr. Mosley, one, I loved it that you added your works to Black Pulp, but you are one of my inspirations. You really, really are. So this book was something else. And when I finished it, I went, wait, what do you mean? Is this over? Because it doesn't feel like it's over. It reminded me of a Marvel comic book or graphic novel. It reminded me of that. And the superpowers that Martin just has, they're attributed to another person, an alternate personality named Temple. And Martin and Temple are very, very different. They are radically different. But it was something that I could see that could actually happen. You know, him waking up and thinking he's been asleep all these years to find out humanity is a virus upon the planet. And he, and along with others, I think it's about 107 of them, are the cure in various ways. I did like, I hate to ruin this, but I did like his interaction with the white supremacist people in this book. And what he does with them, it's just like, wow, okay. So this book and the next book that I'm reviewing made me really think about what's human. What defines us as human? Is it the fact that we have opposable thumbs? Is it the fact that we have emotion? Is it the fact that we see ourselves as Lord and Master over the earth? Or is there something more to it? And when something comes in to threaten our humanity, does that make us rise up, evolve to a level that we weren't even expecting? Or does it cause us to revert to our base animal instincts? Touched is one of those books where, now that I think about it, really satirical. A nice, interesting mirror upon humanity and how people's beliefs can change. Proof that you may believe a certain thing, you may say a certain thing, but if there's a way to change it, I'm trying to form my words here, but if there's a way to change it, it can be changed. And would you care about that? That's not really what's going through my head, but I was trying to form it in the best way possible. But yeah, the more I think about this book, the more I'm like, wow, that makes me question everything about humanity. But having said that, it does remind me of a Marvel show or graphic novel showing my boy Moon Knight. I'm a big Moon Knight fan, if you don't know that. And so Touched by Walter Mosley does receive 5 pots of kick-ass tea from Viridian Tea House. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, I'm starting to make connections here. And wow, this book is way more powerful than I thought. I will say that the ending ends on a cliffhanger, and that's why I was like, wait a minute, this can't be it, right? So Mr. Mosley, if you're watching this, I hope there's going to be a second one, because I will be devouring it. I know I'm going to love it. So once again, Touched by Walter Mosley, 5 Pots of Tea from Viridian Tea House. This really was something else. And to continue with my questions about humanity, this is a book that I did not realize I've never read before, but it happened when I was walking through the library and I looked down and I went, oh, I don't think I've ever read this. I'm going to change that today. And I devoured it within 2 days. The classic, Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells. Wow. This made me think so hard. My little gray cells were just popping like Jiffy popcorn. So let me read the back of it for you. Adrift in a dinghy, Edward Prendick, the single survivor from the good ship Lady Vane, is rescued by a vessel carrying a profoundly unusual cargo, a menagerie of savage animals. Nursed to recovery by their keeper Montgomery, who gives him dark medicine that tastes of blood, Prendick soon finds himself stranded upon an uncharted island in the Pacific with his rescuer and the beasts. Here he meets Montgomery's master, the sinister Dr. Moreau, a brilliant scientist whose notorious experiments in vivisection have caused him to abandon the civilized world. It soon becomes clear that he has been developing these experiments with truly horrific results. A parable on Darwinian theory and a biting social satire, The Island of Dr. Moreau is a fascinating exploration of what it means to be human. And yes, so let's see, is there talk about H.G. Wells, the third son of a small shopkeeper, was born in Bromley in 1866. After 2 years' apprenticeship in a draper's shop, he became a pupil teacher at Midhurst Grammar School and won a scholarship to study under T.H. Huxley at the Normal School of Science, South Kensington. He taught biology before becoming a professional writer and journalist. He wrote more than 100 books, including novels, essays, histories, and programs for world regeneration. Wells, who rose from obscurity to world fame, had an emotionally and intellectually turbulent life. His prophetic imagination was first displayed in pioneering works of science fiction such as The Time Machine, The Island of Dr. Moreau, which was written in 1896, The Invisible Man, and The War of the Worlds. Later, he became an apostle of socialism, science, and progress, whose anticipations of a future world state include The Shape of Things to Come. His controversial views on sexual equality and women's rights were expressed in the novels Anne Veronica and The New Machiavelli. He was, in Bertrand Russell's words, an important liberator of thought and action. Wells drew on his own early struggles in many of his best novels, including Love and Mr. Lewisham, Kipps, Tonneau Bungay, and The History of Mr. Polly. His educational works, some written in collaboration, include The Outline of History and The Science of Life. His experiments and autobiography reviews his world. He died in London in 1946. What makes us human? What is it? Again, is it because we have opposable thumbs? Is it because we have emotion? For those of you who have read the story, yeah, when it finally built up, you're like, what's happening? What are the fiendish experiments of Dr. Moreau? And then when you realize it, you're like, my God, are they human? They don't look human, but they can think like humans. Do they have emotion? Does that make them human? I will say the scariest part of this entire book for me was when they reverted back to their animal ways. That terrified me the most. especially how one of the characters who talked all the time and was asking questions, and then the narrator noticed that the words became just dribble, and then they reverted back to animal noises. For some reason, that part of the book terrified me the most, because Moreau, for all of his reasoning, was the only thing keeping them human. And I say that in quotes, human. But once he left the picture, they immediately reverted back. Like, it wasn't, years or months. No, it was pretty quick. But as I read the book, I just kept thinking, if I were to see a cheetah walking upright, wearing clothes and talking, top of the morning to you, that kind of thing, would I say, oh my God, what's this animal doing? Why is it acting like us? Or would I think, that's just a very furry looking human? What makes us human? I spent one of my boyfriend and I walking around the lake, just babbling, just talking about it, just saying, this book makes me think in ways that I'd only just gently pushed at with my own scholarly studies, but this made me push that proverbial envelope even further. And this is one of these books where it's going to stay with me for quite a while. It really will. Because when Moreau was discussing his justification for all of this and how society treated him like such a monster, and then at the very end where the narrator finally returns to civilization and he realizes he can't look at his fellow humans without seeing their animal nature. So was Moreau a genius? Was Moreau ahead of his time? Was he just a demented madman? I don't know. But this book will stay with me for quite some time. And it does receive also 5 pots of tea from Viridian Tea House. It really, I've so far I've only read The Time Machine, and now I've read Island of Dr. Moreau. Oh, and I did read The Invisible Man too, and I love the classic Universal film. I like how with H.G. Wells, he makes you think. Whether you want to or not, you're going to think. You're going to ponder about this world that we live in. Even though this is 2024, it still makes you think about the world that we're in. And it also makes you think about yourself. Are we really living? Are we just existing? Are we just watching our lives go by on a television screen? Or are we actively getting dirty and enjoying life for what it is? I won't go any further because I only have so much time, but yeah, Island of Dr. Moreau, to the ghost of H.G. Wells, thank you. Thank you so much. So, on to another ghost. In talking about one of my tea blends, Harlem Muse Tea Blend. And the person that's on the label there is Harlem Renaissance author Nella Larsen. She was born in 1891, died in 1964. She was known for writing 2 books, Quicksand and Passing. I've read both of them. I highly recommend you read them. Highly, highly recommend. A lot of her, she also wrote some short stories as well. Some of them were lost. I reached out to a biographer of Nella Larsen because apparently there was a 3rd novel that she had written, but it's lost. However, I did a little bit of research and I found that there was a new book that came out in 2020 called Beyond Passing, The Further Writings of Nella Larsen. So apparently it includes Quicksand and 2 short stories that were assumed to be lost or out of print. I will be purchasing it because I adore Nella Larsen's work, and that's why I made this tea blend inspired by her, Harlem Muse. So the ingredients with this are white tea, jasmine, lemon balm, and lime peel. So with all of my white tea blends, if you've never bought tea from me before, I tend to use Modan, also known as white peony. It's very mild, very subtle, but a very beautiful taste. I've talked about this before in other videos, but I always like to steep my white tea 1 to maybe 3 minutes. Anything longer than that, anything really longer than 2 minutes, for some reason it makes the taste of the tea kind of bitter. Tannins coming out. Let's see what else. And I was going to say something else. Oh, actually let this steep for about 3 minutes, and I'm kind of all right with that, but if you see me make a face, it's like, oh, too many tannins. So from me to you, a lovely cup of Harlem Muse Tea Blend. I immediately get the lime peel. Out of all the citrus that I work with, I love adding lime peel to my tea blends. I'm all about limes. That's just me. But I'm getting very much the jasmine. It's not like I'm drinking perfume, but the jasmine, the lime peel, the lemon balm, not so much, but as I've noticed, when the temperature cools down, some of the other ingredients that were kind of in the background move to the front. The base of the white tea is there. It's obvious, but this is a light, delicate cup of tea that I think really goes well with the depressing, a little bit horrific subjects that Nella Larsen handled. Basically, if you've never heard of her or read her work, excuse me, Quicksand and Passing deal with what it's like to be biracial in the 30s. So you're not really accepted in the white world, but you're not really accepted in the black world because of your skin. And I really enjoyed both of them. I think Quicksand hit me harder than Passing did. I did read Passing first, and it threw me for a loop. And I just thought, wow, you're not accepted by either. So try and pass for one race over another, because it's not as damaging in a way. But anyway, Quicksand and Passing are her two big novels. The book that just came out a couple years ago is called Beyond Passing: The Further Writings of Nella Larsen. Run to your local bookstore or the library and just enjoy Nella Larsen. Still getting more of the lime peel, the jasmine with the base of the white tea. The lemon balm is, again, maybe the lemon balm is kind of mixing in with the ground lime, with the lime peel, but still a delicious white tea blend. And you can get bags of Harlem Muse through my website, viridianteacompany.com. So before I send you back into your parts of the world, let's just do a tea and water breathing meditation. We're just going to take a few seconds out of our day to just focus on our breathing. And if you're ready, let's do this. And now let's end this breathing meditation with a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Slowly open your eyes or allow your eyes to come back into focus. And now let's have a sip of your tea or water. I'm getting more of the lemon balm now. This is one of my favorite mugs, by the way. I purchased this when I lived in New Orleans. I have a thing for octopuses, so yeah. That's all I have for today before I keep rambling on. Many thanks to the ghosts of Nella Larson and H.G. Wells, also to Walter Mosley, to the good folks for the Denver Arts Festival, the Wheat Ridge Farmers Market, and the Outpost Farmers Marketplace. Maybe I'll see you at one of these events this weekend. So as always, take care of yourself and each other. Raise your tea mug high. And remember that to drink tea is to enjoy life. I will see y'all really soon. Have a great weekend and have a great Memorial Day. Bye for now.